Hi everyone, welcome to the series of lectures on signals and systems. So far we have completed the concepts related with the signals. So we have completed the concepts related with the systems. So all basics are completed up to now. So in this class I introduced to you the concept of the Fourier series. So this is a new chapter and the chapter name is Introduction to the Fourier series. Here FS stands for Fourier series. So it is Fourier series. Fourier series. So both Fourier series and Fourier transforms and their applications. Fourier series, Fourier transforms and their applications. So were given by a mathematician, a French mathematician. His name is Joseph Fourier. So he introduced the concepts of Fourier series and Fourier transforms. He was a French mathematician cum physicist. So he introduced, Joseph Fourier introduced the both concepts of Fourier series and Fourier transforms. So I quickly write the definition of Fourier series. So Fourier series, clearly observe the definition. So any periodic signal. So if you want to understand the Fourier series, you must know the concept of periodic signal. So any periodic signal, so I will put here star mark. So why? Because not only all periodic signals, but a periodic signal must satisfy three conditions. Even though it is a periodic signal, it must satisfy three conditions. Those three conditions are called Dirichlet conditions. So Dirichlet conditions. So I will give the definition. So later, with the help of definition, I explained the Fourier series. So any periodic signal, provided the periodic signal must satisfy three conditions. First of all, if you want to apply a Fourier series to a particular signal, the signal must be a periodic signal. The signal must be a periodic signal. So even though it is a periodic signal, it must satisfy three conditions. These are very, very important conditions. So which are your Dirichlet conditions? Dirichlet conditions for the existence of Fourier series. These conditions are very, very important for the examination point of view. Explain the Dirichlet conditions for the existence of Fourier series. Like that they are asking in the examination. So any periodic signal, provided it must satisfy the following three conditions, which are Dirichlet conditions. I will explain the Dirichlet conditions in the next class. So up to now, any periodic signal can be expanded. So in terms of harmonics. Here the harmonics are nothing but your sine and cosine functions. Clearly understand the definition. So any periodic signal, that periodic signal must satisfy three conditions, which are your Dirichlet conditions. So if a periodic signal satisfies the Dirichlet conditions, so can be expressed or expanded in terms of the harmonics. So can be expressed in terms of the sine and cosine functions. So which are all these sine and cosine functions which are orthogonal to each other. which are orthogonal to each other. Which are orthogonal to each other. So this is the exact definition of Fourier series. So Fourier series is nothing but you can expand or you can represent any signal. So that signal must be a periodic signal, and that periodic signal must satisfy three conditions, which are your Dirichlet conditions. I explained Dirichlet conditions in the next class, but as for the definition you must understand. So if you want to represent a signal in terms of the Fourier series expansion, so the signal must be a periodic signal. That is the first condition. So this is the first condition. The signal must be a periodic signal. Otherwise you cannot express the signal in terms of the Fourier series expansion. The signal must be a periodic signal, and that signal must satisfy these conditions, which are Dirichlet conditions. We have three conditions. All three conditions are very important. So every periodic signal satisfying the Dirichlet conditions must be expressed in terms of the sine and cosine functions, which are the harmonics, which are nothing but the harmonics. Your sine and cosine functions are nothing but the harmonics, and these sine and cosine functions are orthogonal to each other. I will explain the three concepts here. The concept of periodic signal, if you want to understand the definition, so you must know the concept of periodic signal. So in the definition, if you observe, if you want to understand the definition of the Fourier series, so you must understand the concept of periodic signal. I already explained the concept of periodic signal. So next you must understand the concept of harmonics. Harmonic is nothing but the sine and cosine functions. So next you must understand the concept of orthogonal signals. So to understand the definition of Fourier series expansion, what is a Fourier series expansion? So one must understand the three important conditions, three important factors. One is the concept of periodic signal, because Fourier series is applicable only for periodic signals. So if you want to expand any signal, so first you must check whether that signal is a periodic signal or not. That's why you need to understand the periodic signal concept. Next you must understand the harmonics, because we need to express a periodic signal in terms of the harmonics. So what are the harmonics? Harmonics are nothing but your sine and cosine functions, and all these sine and cosine functions are orthogonal to each other. So you must understand the concept of orthogonality in the signals. So if you know these three factors, you can easily understand the definition of the Fourier series. Now when it comes to the periodic signals, I explained one by one all these concepts so that you can easily understand the definition of the Fourier series. Now what is periodic signal? So periodic signal is nothing but the signal. There are two conditions. If a signal x of t is a periodic signal, it must satisfy two conditions. So what is the first condition? The signal must be everlasting, in between minus infinity to plus infinity. Signal must be defined in between minus infinity to plus infinity range. And what is the next condition? So it must satisfy this relation, x of t equal to x of t plus k times t. So at each and every instant of time, so the signal must satisfy this relation, where capital T is what? Fundamental time period, which is the minimum time after which the signal repeats itself. Whenever k is equal to 1, so we got the fundamental time period, which is your t. So how can you verify this relation? So when you perform the shifting operation, so what is your x of t plus capital T? It is nothing but the shifting operation. So which is your left shift? When you shift your x of t by t units, where t is the smallest value, and the signal here is defined between minus infinity to plus infinity. So whenever the signal is defined in between minus infinity to plus infinity, the smallest shift on the signal won't affect this relation, x of t equal to x of t plus capital T. Capital T is the smallest value, after which the signal repeats itself, that is your periodic signal, Now when comes to the Fourier series, so Fourier series is only applicable for periodic signals, and the Fourier series we are using it for analysis purpose. Fourier series is used for analysis purpose. So we are going to use this Fourier series for analyzing the signal, How can you do the analysis? When you represent the Fourier series, when you represent any signal, any periodic signal in terms of the Fourier series, so you must know the harmonics present in that signal. You must know the information about the harmonics present in that signal, So harmonics are always undesirable, so we have to remove the harmonics. How can you remove the harmonics? If you have the data of the harmonics, then only you can remove the harmonics. So if you want the data of the harmonics, which harmonics are dominant and which harmonics are not dominant, like that, if you have the data regarding the harmonics, then only it is possible to suppress those harmonics from the system. So without the knowledge of harmonics, how can you suppress those harmonics from the system? Because harmonics are undesirable, we cannot get the reasonable output if harmonics are present in our signal. Now with the help of the Fourier series expansion, we can easily analyze the harmonics, present in the signal, which harmonics are dominant, which harmonics are not dominant. So if the harmonics are dominant, how can we remove those harmonics from the signal? So that analysis we are going to perform using the Fourier series, and comes to the representations, Fourier series is only applicable for the periodic signals. So in the periodic signal we have two types. I already told you signals are classified into two types. One is continuous time signal, another one is discrete time signal. So there are two type of periodic signals. Therefore we have two types of periodic signals. One is continuous time periodic signal, another one is discrete time periodic signal. So when comes to the representation, Fourier series representation of continuous time periodic signals, the representation we are using is continuous time Fourier series. CTFS stands for continuous time Fourier series. So this is used for representing your continuous time periodic signal. CTFS stands for continuous time Fourier series. So which is used for representing your continuous time periodic signal in terms of its Fourier series expansion. Therefore it is named as CTFS. And the Fourier series used to represent a discrete time periodic signal is nothing but DTFS. So this is your discrete time Fourier series. So discrete time Fourier series is out of scope of your syllabus. Only CTFS is present in your syllabus. So we are going to complete this CTFS only. We are not completing this DTFS because it is not included in our syllabus. DTFS. So all of you understand clearly Fourier series. Why we use the Fourier series? We use the Fourier series for the analysis purpose. What is analysis? Analysis is nothing but we need to find the harmonics present in our signal, present in our system or signal. So to find the harmonic content present in our signal, you must analyze that signal. Using its Fourier series expansion. So once we did the Fourier series expansion for a given signal, you must easily identify the harmonic components present in that signal, so that you can easily eliminate the harmonics. To provide a better output. To provide a better output, you can easily eliminate those harmonics. Therefore, Fourier series is used for analysis purpose. So if you want to apply a Fourier series, the signal must be a periodic signal, and the signal must satisfy the three important conditions, which are your Dirichlet conditions. Since we have two type of signals, so we have continuous time periodic signal and we have discrete time periodic signal. Signals are classified into two types. So with respect to the periodic signals, we have continuous time periodic signal, we have discrete time periodic signals. And coming to the representations, if you want to represent a continuous time periodic signal using the Fourier series, the representation is a continuous time Fourier series. And if you want to represent a discrete time signal using the Fourier series expansion, the representation is called discrete time Fourier series. Now you may ask one question. So what is the use of Fourier transforms? What is the use of Fourier transforms? If Fourier series is there, what is the use of Fourier transforms? So Fourier transforms we are going to use for analyzing the aperiodic signals. So Fourier series is only used for analyzing the periodic signals, provided that periodic signal must satisfy this Dirichlet's conditions. So if you want to analyze the aperiodic signals, we use a tool called Fourier transforms. Fourier transforms is used to analyze the aperiodic signals. Both Fourier series and Fourier transforms are used for analysis purpose. So when comes to the Fourier transforms, it is only applicable for the aperiodic signals. So in the real time, if you observe, all are aperiodic signals. In the real time, we have all are aperiodic signals. All are random in nature. In the real time, all signals are in random nature, not deterministic signals. So whenever the signals are random, if you want to analyze the random signals, those are random signals are your aperiodic signals. So we need a tool. That tool is Fourier transforms. So like in the case of periodic signals, we have two types. In the case of aperiodic signals also, we have two signals. One is continuous time aperiodic signal, another one is discrete time aperiodic signal. So signals are two types. If when comes to the case of aperiodic signals, we have continuous time aperiodic signal, we have discrete time aperiodic signal. So if you want to analyze a continuous time aperiodic signal, the representation we are going to use is continuous time Fourier transforms. CTFT stands for continuous time Fourier transforms. To analyze a continuous time aperiodic signal, we use continuous time Fourier transforms. To analyze a discrete time aperiodic signal, the tool we are going to use is discrete time Fourier transforms. So you must understand here, both Fourier series and Fourier transforms are used for analysis purpose. For Fourier series, it is only applicable for periodic signals. For Fourier transforms, it is applicable for aperiodic signals. Since the signals are two types, so the periodic signals are two types: continuous time periodic, discrete time periodic signals. So with respect to continuous time and discrete time, we have two types of transformations. One is CTFS, another one is DTFS. And with respect to the aperiodic signals, we also have two classifications. One is continuous time aperiodic signal, another one is discrete time aperiodic signal. And the transformations we are using is CTFT, which is continuous time Fourier transforms, which is your discrete time Fourier transforms. Now you may ask another question. So what is the advantage of Laplace transforms? We have several transforms. We know Fourier series, we know Fourier transforms. Now what is the advantage of Laplace transforms? So we use the Laplace transform for designing purpose. So we use the Laplace transform. LT stands for Laplace transforms. So we use the Laplace transform for designing purpose. If you want to design any system, for that system you need to find the transfer function. So using the transfer function, with the help of methods, we have different methods, which are your root locus, which are your root locus. If you want to design any system, so we need to understand the first the stability concept. How can you understand the stability of the system? How can you analyze the stability of the system? To understand the stability of your system, you must know the Laplace transforms concept. So if you know the Laplace transform, then only you can find the system transfer function, which is your h of s. That is your system transfer function. With the help of system transfer function, using the different methods, one is root locus method, another one is Bode plot. All of you know all these methods. Another one is Nyquist plot. So with the help of all these techniques, we are analyzing the system stability. If you want to analyze the stability of any system, we have a powerful tools. So which are your root locus, Bode plot, Nyquist plot. So using all these plots, we are analyzing the stability of the system. Once the stability of the system we analyze, the next step is we are going for the designing. So after the completion of stability, we are going to designing that system. Once the stability is completed, the concept of stability is completed, so we are going for the designing. Then only we are going for the designing. How can you complete the concept of stability? If you want to understand all these plots, you can easily estimate the whether the given system is stable or not. You can easily estimate using the different parameters. How can you make all these plots with the help of the transfer function? How can you develop this transfer function with the help of the Laplace transforms? Without the Laplace transform, how can you develop the system transfer function? So without the system transfer function, how can you develop the different plots? So without the plots, how can you analyze the stability of the system? So if you not completed the stability of the system, how can you go for the designing? So if we want to design a system, so you must complete the analysis, stability analysis. You must complete the stability analysis part. Otherwise, you cannot proceed for the designing. For the designing. So to design a system, we need a powerful tool which is called as Laplace transform. Whereas Fourier series and Fourier transforms we are using for the analysis purpose, whereas the Laplace transform we are using for the designing purpose. So we are using this Laplace transform only in the continuous time domain. In the continuous time domain only we are using the Laplace transforms. So when comes to the Z transforms, or G transforms, so we are also using this Z transform for designing purpose, but we are using this Z transforms in the discrete time domain. So if you want to find the system transfer function in the discrete time domain, we use the Z transforms. If you want to find the system transfer function in the continuous time domain, we are using the Laplace transforms. Both Laplace transforms and Z transforms are powerful techniques which are used in the designing of the system, This is about the various transformations we are going to study in this subject. Only we are DTFS is not included in your syllabus. Remaining all the transformations are included in your syllabus. CTFS is included in your syllabus. CTFT, DTFT. So next, the concept of Laplace transforms, the concept of Z transforms, all these transformations are included in your syllabus except DTFS, which is discrete time Fourier series. So in the next classes we are going to complete all these transformations. So this is about the little bit introduction about the various transformation techniques we are going to study in this subject. Now when it comes to the definition, so definition says that any periodic signal, I already told you what is a periodic signal. So even though if it is a periodic signal, it must satisfy three conditions which are called Dirichlet conditions. So every periodic signal satisfying the Dirichlet conditions must be expressed in terms of the harmonics, which are the sine and cosine functions, Now I already told you the concept of periodic signals. Next, when it comes to the harmonics, the concept of harmonics. So the second one is the concept of harmonics. How can you analyze the concept of harmonics? Harmonics are nothing but your sine and cosine functions. So let me explain. So before going to discuss this harmonic concept, one should know the concept of frequency. If you want to know the harmonics, you must know the concept of frequency. What is frequency? Frequency is nothing but number of cycles completed in second time. Number of cycles completed in second time. So to explain this frequency concept, let us quickly take a sinusoidal equation. So this is your sinusoidal equation. Now this is positive half cycle, this is negative half cycle. So what is your cycle? So this is your cycle. One positive half cycle and one negative half cycle is nothing but your cycle. Cycle is nothing but complete set of all possible values of the given function. That is your cycle. So after this, so let us consider this is t. So after the t, same waveform is going to repeat. One such repetition is called time period. That means for completing one cycle, so what is the time taken? What is the time taken? It is t seconds. You observe the expression, one positive half cycle and one negative half cycle completes one cycle. A cycle is nothing but complete set of all possible values of the function. So whatever the values from 0 to t, the function holds, same values it holds for the next cycles also. That is the meaning of cycle. A cycle is representing all set of possible values of the given function. So if you complete one cycle, that is your time period. Now for complete one cycle, it will take t seconds. It will take t seconds. Now for 1 second, how many cycles it is going to complete? 1 by t cycles per second. 1 by t cycles per second. So this is your nothing but what? This is your frequency. This is your frequency. Now what is your frequency? The number of cycles completed in second time is called frequency. So for completing one cycle, it will take t seconds, 0 to t seconds. Now to complete 1 second, to complete in 1 second, how many cycles it is going to complete? It is 1 by t cycles per second. 1 by t cycles per second. That is your frequency. That is your frequency. Now defining frequency for such type of waveforms is very easy. We want to define a frequency term for deterministic signals. For deterministic signals, so it is very easy because we have only one frequency term. So after t, if you observe, the same waveform is going to repeat. So one such repetition is called time period, and the number of cycles completed in second time is called frequency. Now if you observe the waveform here, the waveform is a deterministic signal. That means it follows certain pattern in its time period. For such type of waveforms, we have only one frequency term. We have only one frequency term, and we can easily find out that frequency. We can easily find out that frequency. Now in the real time, if you observe in the real time, so all signals are not periodic in nature. All signals are not periodic in nature. So in the real time, if you observe, so in the real time, so all are random signals. So all are random signals. For random signals, it is not possible to find out the frequency. It is not possible to find out the frequency. Why? Because for random signals, there is no repetition of the structure. If it is a deterministic signal, then only there is a repetition of structure. So one such repetition is called time period, and the number of cycles completed in second time is called the frequency. We have only one frequency term for the deterministic signals. But whereas the case of real time signals, in the real times, all the signals are random in nature. All the signals are random in nature. For the random signals, it is not possible to identify the frequency, to find out the frequency. To explain this, let us consider this simple example. So let us consider this simple example. So you have a mic here. So using the mic, so this is my voice signal. So I am going to give voice signal as an input to your mic. So your mic is going to convert my voice signal. Whatever I spoke, your mic is going to convert the voice signal into electrical signal. So electrical signal. So this is your electrical signal. So with the help of transducer, in the mic we have a transducer is there. So your transducer is converting your voice signal, whatever you spoke, so that those words your mic is going to convert into electrical signals with the help of the transducer. And in the output, if I got the waveform like this, so this is the model waveform I plot. So in the output, so let us consider this is your x of t. So here let us consider your electrical signal is like this. So this is your, let us consider this is your electrical signal. Now if you observe the signal coming out of from your mic, which is of electrical signal, so this signal is a random in nature. That means it won't follow certain pattern. So in its time period, it won't follow certain pattern. So for such type of waveforms, it is not possible to determine the frequency. How can you determine the frequency for such type of waveforms? If it follows a regular pattern in the time, we can easily find out the frequency. For such type of waveforms, we have only one frequency term. But here if we observe the waveform, the nature of the waveform, here it is increasing sharply and decreases like that. The waveform continues. So for such type of waveforms, we have multiple frequencies. Not only a single frequency, we have multiple frequency terms. Here if you observe the waveform, there is a sharp increase in the curve. So for this we have very less time period. The time period is very less. So for such type of signal, we have huge frequency term. Now if you observe here, there is an increase in time period. So if you observe the waveform, so time period is increasing. So for this portion we have less frequency. So it depends on the waveform, depends on the words I can spell out. We have observed the spikes in your output waveform. So depends on the words I spell here. So your mic is going to convert your voice signal into electrical signals, and your signal consists of spikes in the output. So these spikes are depends on the words I can spell out. So for this case, here the frequency is high. For this there is a steep increase in the curve here. So for this frequency is more, because time period is very less for this steep curve. So if we observe the next part of the plot, here the time period is more, therefore frequency for this part is very less. Like that the waveform continues. Depends on the words I can spell out. I can have the multiple frequencies. So I cannot define the frequency for the random signals, since we have the multiple frequencies. How can I define the frequency? So to define a frequency for such type of waveforms, I can define a frequency in the broader way. So in the broader way, not the cycles per second. I can define the frequency in a broader way, so that I can easily find out the frequencies. How can you define a frequency? Frequency is nothing but rate of change. So this is the broader definition of the frequency. So here if you observe the first steep, here the rate of change is high, therefore frequency is high. In the second part, rate of change is less, therefore frequency is less. So that is the frequency definition in a broader way. Frequency is nothing but rate of change. For a random signals, we cannot predict the frequency. Only frequency is defined with respect to the rate of change value. So like that we can identify the frequency with the help of rate of change values. Now when it comes to the harmonics concept, so whenever the signals consists of the multiple frequencies, like here your electrical signal, if you take, so this electrical signal is consists of multiple frequencies. So whenever the signal consists of multiple frequencies, so we can represent such type of signals in terms of the fundamental component plus harmonics. This is very, very important. So we can represent, so whenever you can clearly observe here, whenever the signal consists of multiple frequencies, the signal which are of random in nature are consists of multiple frequencies, So whenever the signal consists of multiple frequencies, we can express those signals in terms of the fundamental component plus harmonics, in terms of the fundamental components and harmonics. Like if I consider the example here, how can I express x of t in terms of the fundamental component? Suppose the fundamental component is sine omega t, plus in terms of the harmonics means it is 2 sine 2 omega t. So like that we'll get the expression 3 sine 3 omega t plus 5 sine 4 omega t. So like that the expression continues. So this is your first term, is your fundamental component. So what is your fundamental angular frequency? It is omega. So omega equal to 2 pi f. So whenever the signal consists of multiple frequencies, you can always express those type of signals in terms of the fundamental component and harmonics. What is fundamental component? Sine omega t, where omega is the fundamental frequency, so which is 2 pi f. Now if you observe the second, so from here all are harmonic components. If you observe the second signal, so what is the frequency of the second signal? It is 2 times omega t. That means your frequency of this term is integral multiple of the fundamental frequency. Now if you observe the third case, so what is the frequency here? Frequency is 3 omega. So what is the frequency? It is integral multiple of the fundamental frequency. That means what? Harmonics are nothing but integral multiples of the, whenever you find out any functions which are integral multiples of the fundamental frequency, those terms are called harmonics. Now if you observe the third term, so what is the frequency? It is 4 times omega. That means integral multiple of the fundamental frequency. So if the frequency of any function which is integral multiples of the fundamental frequency, those terms we call it as harmonics. So harmonics are nothing but your sine and cosine functions. For the harmonics, the frequency is integral multiple of the fundamental frequency. We have a fundamental frequency of omega. So for the harmonics we have the integral multiple of the fundamental frequency. Suppose if n is equal to even, so if n equal to even, so if n is even means what? Those are called even harmonics. So if n is odd, those are called odd harmonics. That is the even harmonics and odd harmonics. So harmonics are nothing but the integral multiples of the fundamental frequency. For harmonics, the frequency is always the integral multiples of the fundamental frequency. So here n is even. Means this is even harmonic. If n is odd, it is odd harmonic. If n is odd, this is odd harmonic. Now if we observe the coefficients of harmonics, so if it is even 2, let us observe here the coefficient is 2. Now if you observe the hard components, if you observe the hard component, suppose you hard component, what is the coefficient here? 3 is your hard component, hard harmonic. So what is the coefficient here? 3 is the hard component. Now if you take this as 1, let us consider this as 1, and if you observe the n equal to 4, even 4, what is the coefficient here? 1. The coefficient here is 1. Now if you compare the coefficients of odd and even component, and the waveform continues up to infinity. Now if you observe the waveform, if it is even harmonic, and if it is hard harmonic, so in which case the coefficients are higher, so for hard harmonics case, the coefficients are higher, therefore the dominant of odd harmonics are more when compared to the even harmonics. In this case, if you observe the coefficients of odd harmonics and coefficients of even harmonics, so if they observe the coefficients of even harmonics, the coefficients of even harmonics are less when compared to the coefficients of hard harmonics. That means what? The dominant nature of even harmonics, the dominant nature of odd harmonics are more in your signal when compared to the even harmonics. For this case of the signal, in some cases the even harmonics are more dominant, in some cases odd harmonics are more dominant. That depends on the specific application, that depends on the signal we considered. When we expand the signal in terms of the Fourier series expansion, we must understand so which harmonics are more dominant in that signal, which harmonics are more dominant in that signal. Like that we can easily analyze the harmonic, when we expand a given signal in terms of the Fourier series expansion. This is about the harmonics. Harmonics are nothing but integral multiples of the fundamental frequency. If the integer value is even, those are even harmonics. If the integer value is odd, those are odd harmonics. Depends on the coefficient values. We can easily find out which harmonics are more dominant in our signal. We can easily identify which harmonics are more dominant in our signal. This is about the harmonics. Now when comes to the third, so orthogonal signals. So orthogonal signals, when it comes to the case of orthogonal signals means, so when we pass two or more signals through a common channel, so there is a communication channel is there. So when we pass, let us consider two or more signals. We consider two signals here. So when we pass two or more signals through a common channel, so at the receiving end, so if we get the same signals without the overlapping, so at the receiving end, if we get the same signals, those signals are not orthogonal to each other. So this is the definition of orthogonality in the case of signals. So what is the orthogonality means? Orthogonality means when we pass two or more signals through a common channel, so at the receiving end, if we get the same signals, that means there is no overlap of the signals when we pass the signals through the communication channel. So in that case we will get the same signals at the receiving end. So whatever the signals we send at the sending end, we will get the same signals at the receiving end without the overlapping. Such type of signals, if there is no overlapping happen, we will get the same signals at the receiving end. Such type of signals what we call as orthogonal signals. Now how can you verify the orthogonality of the signals? Using the mathematical expression. So if we integrate over a time period those two signals, so this is very, very important. So if we integrate those signals over the time period, so you will get zero value. If the signals are orthogonal, So you must note down this relation. If the signals are orthogonal, so if you do this integral product, over the time period, so you will get absolutely zero value. So that is the verification of orthogonality of the signals. How can you verify two signals are orthogonal or not? If two signals are orthogonal, if you take the integral product of those two signals over a time period, we will get zero. So like that in our Fourier series expansion, so whatever the sine and cosine terms we have in the expression, all these terms are orthogonal to each other. That means when we do the same procedure like here, we will get zero value. So that is the exact definition of orthogonality. So with this you can easily understand the definition of orthogonal, definition of Fourier series. Now when it comes to the definition of Fourier series, I already told you it is only applicable for the periodic signals. Even though the signals are periodic signals, that signal must satisfy the Dirichlet's conditions. I will explain these Dirichlet conditions in the next class. If the signal is a periodic signal, provided it satisfies the Dirichlet's conditions, this signal is expanded or expressed in terms of the sine and cosine functions, which are the harmonic components, and these sine and cosine functions are integral to each other, So this is the exact definition of the Fourier series. Now when it comes to the types of Fourier series, so in the Fourier series, so this is also very important, we have three types of Fourier series expansion. So expansion, we have three types of Fourier series expansion. One is trigonometric Fourier series expansion. So this is very important for your examination point of view. Trigonometric Fourier series expansion. Next one is complex. Exponential Fourier series expansion. Complex exponential Fourier series expansion. This is also important. So next, third category type of Fourier series expansion is polar or harmonic. Fourier series expansion. This polar or harmonic, not that much important. This is the modification of the trigonometric Fourier series expansion. We have three types of Fourier series expansion. Number one is trigonometric Fourier series expansion. This is very important for your examination point of view. Next one is complex exponential Fourier series expansion. This is also important for the examination point of view. The third one is not that much important. This is only the modification of the first one, which is your trigonometric Fourier series expansion. This is your polar or harmonic Fourier series expansion. Fourier series expansion. So these are the types of Fourier series expansion. So I will stop today's class. I will explain the Dirichlet's conditions and the types of Fourier series expansion in the next class. See you all.